The Serengeti. It's a sun-scorched ocean of grass, a chessboard where every move can mean life or death, and shelter is a rare luxury. I'm always struck by the intensity of it, the constant priz. Even the cheetah, the fastest land animal, can find its speed subdued by a troop of baboons. And the lion, for all its strength, must sometimes bow to the tenacity of a warthog. It's a place where survival is a daily calculation. Now, this more apparent than during the dry season. Most animals have sought refuge from the searing heat that can easily climb to 32 degrees Celsius. But hunger grants the cheetah no such privilege. It must hunt, regardless of the cost. I've read accounts of cheetahs spotting prey from an astonishing 5 kilometers away. Today, the target is much closer, a solitary warthog just 50 meters distant. The cheetah, using thick paw pads and a digitigrade stance, moves with a silence that belies its power. The tall grass becomes its ally, concealing its slender frame, a silent ghost moving through the blinding sunlight. The gap closes. 30 meters. The cheetah has entered its kill zone. It's in this range that its legendary acceleration achieves its highest success rate, where energy expenditure is minimized. In just 3 seconds, the cheetah can reach a speed of 96 kilometers per hour. Its stride extends to 7 meters, thanks to that incredible, flexible spine that coils and uncoils like a spring. Semi-retractable claws dig deep into the ground, providing absolute traction, like spikes. But the warthog is no easy target. Its speed is only half that of the cheetah, around 50 kilometers per hour. Yet, a low center of gravity allows it to corner sharply, continuously running in a frustrating zigzag pattern. The cheetah is forced to swing its 80-centimeter long tail to maintain balance, desperately trying to stay glued to its prey. And then salvation appears for the warthog, an abandoned aardvark burrow. Most predators would surrender at this point. But perhaps hunger has eclipsed the cheetah's instincts. It's a high-stakes gamble. The greatest risk comes from the warthog's tusks, those 25 to 50 centimeter long weapons. When retreating into a burrow, the warthog rarely enters head first. Instead, it backs in, its armored head and sharp tusks facing outward, acting as a solid line of defense. At that moment, the burrow becomes an impregnable fortress. Any cheetah or lion foolish enough to stick a paw or snout into that darkness faces a potentially fatal wound. Many inexperienced predators have suffered torn noses or permanent blindness attempting to breach this door of death. The warthog's upper tusks curve upwards, acting as whetstones for the lower set. Every time the mouth closes, the tusks grind against each other, creating a continuous self-sharpening mechanism. The result is a set of daggers so sharp they can slice through flesh with a mere shake of the head. And in the worst-case scenario, when no burrow for shelter, the warthog chooses the most violent solution: counterattack. A mature male warthog can weigh up to 100 kilograms. When charging at nearly 50 kilometers per hour, that body generates terrifying kinetic energy. It's like a cannonball ramming straight into the enemy. For a slender cheetah, a bone-shattering impact is synonymous with a death sentence. But the warthog always prefers to avoid conflict. They move silently through elephant grass that stands taller than their heads. The leader paves the way, its slender tail held upright at a 90-degree angle. The tuft of hair at the tip acts as a visual beacon for the others to follow. In this dense sea of grass, this signal helps the family maintain formation and prevents any member from getting separated. This discipline is a matter of survival because in the Serengeti, danger comes not only from the lightning-fast sprints of the cheetah. Spanning over 30,000 square kilometers, this ecosystem shoulders the largest animal biomass on the planet. 4,000 lions and approximately 1,000 leopards continuously patrol to maintain order, every single day. Within that intricate food web, warthogs are biological plows. Their habit of digging for roots helps aerate the arid soil, promoting grass regeneration. Conversely, the cheetah keeps prey populations in check, culling weak and diseased genes from the herd. They are two silent warriors, each contributing to the ecosystem in their own unique way. For the warthog, Seronera is paradise, the central heart of the Serengeti. Here, vegetation remains eternally green, nourished by underground rivers flowing year-round. But this paradise comes at a steep price. Seronera is also the capital of apex predators. It is the domain of the most powerful lion prides in Africa. The lion's hunt for a warthog is a test of endurance. In theory, the lion is faster than the warthog. The king of the savannah can execute bursts of speed, reaching 80 kilometers per hour. But their hearts are too small relative to their body size, and their dense muscle mass generates immense heat. As a result, they can only sprint for about 200 meters. The warthog is not naturally a long-distance athlete of the Serengeti. However, its compact body and efficient respiratory system allow it to maintain high speeds over longer distances than the lion. The endurance of the weak has defeated the explosive power of the strong. Escaping the life-or-death chases, now is the time for the warthog to enjoy relaxation at the highest level. Near termite mounds or dense thickets, we encounter a scene that looks like it stepped right out of a Hollywood movie. A warthog lying flat, allowing a troop of banded mongooses to climb all over its body. This image immediately brings to mind the duo Timon and Pumbaa from the classic film The Lion King. However, in the Serengeti, this is a serious and fair biological transaction, because they live their lives in mud and burrows. The leopard's victory is often short-lived out here. Even after it seeks out the most secluded, hidden spot to enjoy its hard-won meal, it's not truly safe. This is the moment when nature's harshest law is enforced. The strong take what they want. The leopard is lucky if it escapes with its life from the claws of the king of the savannah. There's certainly a pang of regret, I imagine, over the unfinished meal. But the leopard is ultimately unwilling to risk its life. It knows this is a fight it simply cannot win. A mature male leopard might weigh only 60 to 80 kilos. Meanwhile, a male lion is a biological tank, often weighing over 200 kilos, nearly 3 times the weight of its opponent. The lion's bite force, a staggering 650 pounds per square inch, can crush a rival's skull. The leopard is an agile and dexterous assassin, no doubt about it. But in the game of brute strength, the lion dominates completely. Science calls this phenomenon kleptoparasitism. About 20% of the leopard's kills, I've read, will ultimately fall into the hands of lions or hyenas. The lion stealing from smaller predators is, in essence, a highly efficient energy-saving strategy. Now, if you were a predator in the Serengeti, would you choose to be a lion, a leopard, or a cheetah? The cheetah, at least, isn't overly concerned with that question. On the southern plains of the Serengeti, lions appear only during the early months of the year, following the migration. The flat terrain, devoid of trees for cover, isn't ideal for the hunting style of the savanna kings. This is the largest natural death race track on Earth. And on this open stage, the cheetah is the brightest star. It's here that female cheetahs hunt Thompson's gazelle daily. The relentless press of hunger, and the thought of naive cubs waiting for food, forces the predator into a state of hyper-focus. Every failure could mark the end for this solitary hunter. The statistics in the Serengeti are grim. Only about 5% of cheetah cubs survive to adulthood. Every sprint is a life or death gamble, one the cheetah cannot afford to lose. The cheetah must approach openly, yet cautiously. But the coverless terrain makes the predator easy to spot. The hunt explodes the moment the gazelle detects danger and bolts. A formidable quarry indeed. Today is a lucky day. The predator and her cubs will no longer be tormented by hunger. But the cheetah cannot return to her cubs just yet. Her body temperature continues to rise. Even 20 minutes after the hunt has concluded, she is forced to rest. The cheetah is at its most vulnerable moment, and the baboons know this well. They brazenly approach the cheetah. Their intent is clearly visible in their canines, longer than 5 in each sibertvortmod, hand over the kill. Under the command of aggressive alpha males, the troop lays siege with methodical precision. The pounding on the ground, the savage screams, and the glares of ravenous hunger form a brutal psychological assault, designed to break the cheetah's will. The cheetah is utterly helpless against the ferocity of the baboon troop. The tragedy of evolutionary trade-offs becomes clearer than ever following that incredibly tense siege. To become the fastest creature on the planet, the cheetah had to sign a harsh contract with nature, sacrifice strength in exchange for speed. Its skeletal frame is slender and light as glass. To optimize aerodynamics, its claws are blunt, like track spikes, to grip the ground. It possesses no weapons for close quarters combat, and its body is fragile, more vulnerable than ever. The cheetah is entirely alone and forced to calculate for the future. A single leg injury could mark the end. It is nothing less than a death sentence for a hunter reliant on speed. Most importantly, the cheetah remembers her cubs hidden nearby. If the baboons discover them, they will show no mercy. It is a calculated move to eliminate future competitive predators. Confronting baboons has never been a wise choice. Solitude is a fatal weakness for the female cheetah, but that is not a concern for the males. They form coalitions to hunt together and defend their kills. A cheetah coalition consists of 2 to 3 males, usually brothers from the same litter. Unity allows them to target larger and more dangerous prey. This blue wildebeest is a prime example. This is a high-risk physical gamble. An adult wildebeest weighs up to 250 kg, 5 times the weight of a single cheetah. It is a leather-armored tank with curved horns and razor-sharp hooves, capable of crushing the skull of any attacker. The Serengeti. It's a place I've always imagined as the kingdom of the lion, the racetrack of the cheetah. But it's so much more than that. It's a brutal, crowded hierarchy. a place where every ecological niche is claimed by a specialized lineage of assassins. These are the apex predators, the architects of population control, and they've been keeping the gears of this ecosystem turning smoothly for millions of years. Forget those cowardly scavengers you might have seen in cartoons. In the Serengeti, the spotted hyena is a true hunting machine, defined by its terrifying jaws. Nature has equipped them with a massive, dome-shaped skull, anchoring dense blocks of jaw muscle. This gives them a bite force that can reach 1 to 100 pounds per square inch, stronger than both lions and leopards. I find that truly astonishing. These hyenas use their conical premolars to simply destroy physical structures. They're the only mammal in Africa capable of crushing the long bones of buffalo or giraffe. And their digestive system, well, it contains high concentrations of hydrochloric acid, allowing them to break down bone, teeth, and even horn. Their meals often end with absolutely nothing left behind. A common misconception is that hyenas are mere thieves, but long-term studies in the Serengeti have proven the opposite. Spotted hyenas hunt for 70 to 95% of the food they consume. Unlike felines that rely on short bursts of explosive energy, the spotted hyena possesses a massive heart, constituting nearly 1% of its body weight. This allows them to maintain a speed of 60 kilometers per hour for distances of 5 to 10 kilometers. Their hunt becomes a grueling game of cat and mouse until the prey collapses from exhaustion. But what truly makes the spotted hyena dominate the Serengeti is its incredibly complex social structure, an absolute matriarchy. In this kingdom, the female is king. Due to a surge of androgen hormones while still in the womb, female spotted hyenas are larger, more aggressive, and completely dominate the males. Even the lowest-ranking female holds higher authority than the highest-ranking male. Their society operates on complex political alliances, demanding social intelligence on par with primates. Neuroscientists have discovered that the hyena's frontal cortex, the area responsible for reasoning and problem-solving, is highly developed. They know how to coordinate attacks, recognize individuals by their calls, and even hold grudges across generations. And when darkness falls, a manic laughter rings out. This isn't a laugh of joy. That signature sound is an information coding system. The pitch and frequency of the laugh reveal the individual's age, social status, and psychological state. Usually, that giggling is a sign of extreme stress or the manic excitement of fighting over food. These peak emotions often stem from the eternal war with lions. This is the deepest feud on the savannah, driven not just by food, but by the overlapping of ecological niches. Lions kill hyenas simply to eliminate the competition. Conversely, the spotted hyena is the only species that dares to mob the king of the grasslands if they possess a numerical advantage of 4 to 1. A clan of hyenas is ready to rush in to steal a kill or even kill lionesses and cubs. The war between the spotted queen and the man king is a bloody scale of power. It keeps the Serengeti in a state of dramatic equilibrium. Lurking on the periphery of that war for the throne is the silent figure of the African wild dog. In the Serengeti, sighting a pack of wild dogs is a rare moment. They are large predators currently classified as endangered. They wander like exiles in their own homeland. Their scientific name, Lycaon pictus, means painted wolf. Each individual wears a unique coat of chaotic black, gold and white patches. No two wild dogs possess the exact same pattern. But don't let that colorful, abstract art appearance deceive you. This is a disruptive camouflage design, helping them dissolve into the dappled light and shadow of the bush. They monitor their surroundings with massive, rounded ears that act as satellite dishes, receiving sound signals from afar, a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering. Noiseless they may be, but African wild dogs are the true assassins of the savannah. Lions hunt with a success rate of only about 25 to 30%, but the African wild dog succeeds up to 85% of the time. Once the pack decides to give chase, the prey's death warrant is practically signed. Discipline and endurance are the keys to the African wild dog's success. They enter the hunt at speeds of 60 kilometers per hour. The entire formation maintains that velocity for an absurdly long time. They take turns leading. When one tires, another moves up to take its place, creating a relay running machine that never stops. The prey does not die from wounds, but from sheer exhaustion. And death comes very quickly. African wild dogs eat with impressive speed. They take only a few minutes to consume their prey, ensuring they finish before lions can arrive to steal it. However, the brutality shown during the hunt stands in stark contrast to the incredible tenderness of their social life. Within the pack, altruism is the supreme law. After a successful hunt, the adults will bring food back to the den, where the pups, the elderly, or the injured are waiting. No fighting over food. Pups are always given priority to eat first. Even a dog with a broken leg, unable to hunt, will be fed and nurtured by the pack. The tragedy of the African wild dog has always struck me. Their nomadic lifestyle, born of necessity because they're too small to defend territory against lions and hyenas, forces them to keep moving. Their home range can span thousands of kilometers. But the Serengeti is shrinking, pressed by human encroachment and climate change. With nowhere left to run, these splendid ghosts are slowly fading. It feels like an unfillable void is appearing in the wild portrait of Africa. But if you look closely into the tall grass, you'll find another tiny assassin, the serval. It's a small cat mounted on the legs of an antelope, almost looking like a faulty assembly product of creation. But this is a biological design optimized for hunting invisible prey. The serval possesses the longest legs relative to body size in the entire cat family. These legs act as biological stilts, elevating its body above the ground. They allow the serval to move lightly and peer over the dense elephant grass that other cats can't see through. And then there are the ears. The serval's two giant oval ears function like parabolic dishes. They can rotate independently 180 degrees, scanning the environment to pick up ultrasonic frequencies, sounds that the human ear can't even perceive. In the dense grass, vision is almost meaningless. The serval hunts by sound. They stand as still as statues, ears constantly rotating and adjusting, performing audio triangulation to pinpoint the exact location of a mouse moving under thick grass meters away. Once the target is locked, the serval executes its signature strike. It compresses its body and launches vertically into the air. This rainbow arc jump can reach a height of 2 to 3 meters before crashing down like an air-to-ground missile. The serval throws its entire body weight onto its front paws to deliver a stun blow to the prey. The impact force is enough to kill or knock the rodent unconscious instantly, before it even realizes what has happened. The efficiency of this hunting machine is a shocking statistic. The serval achieves a kill rate of up to 50%. For every 2 attempts, 1 creature loses its life. This is the highest success rate among wildcats in Africa. However, competitive press in the Serengeti has forced the serval to alter its behavior spectacularly. By instinct, cats are nocturnal, but here the night belongs to brutal prides of lions and clans of hyenas. To avoid running into these bullies, the serval has shifted its biological clock to become a diurnal predator. They hunt while the lions sleep, exploiting a time slot to monopolize the food source. And that food source plays a vital role in the health of the savanna. Each serval consumes thousands of mice and rodents every year. Without this pest control squad, the rodent population would explode, devastating grassroots and seeds. The Serengeti would risk losing the green in its ecological portrait. In a world of giants, small creatures like the serval need one of 2 things to survive: invisible speed or insane recklessness. And the black-backed jackal chooses the second option. Don't let their modest size deceive you. These are not passive scavengers waiting on the sidelines of the feast. They are the most audacious street robbers of the Serengeti. They are the ones daring enough to challenge death to snatch morsels of meat right from the mouth of the Lion King. This behavior is known as active kleptoparasitism. When a pride of lions is tearing into a kill, the black-backed jackal does not flee. On the contrary, they rush in with terrifying aggression. This is a display of cold calculation and nerves of steel. They operate in pairs or small groups, using a methodical diversionary tactic. One will run around, barking loudly, and even nipping at the lion's tail or hind legs to draw attention. When the lion turns to growl in fury, the second jackal flashes in like lightning, grabs a chunk of meat, and vanishes into the bush. It's a dance with death that the black-backed jackal has memorized every step of. The distance between a full belly and a neck-snapping slap from a lion is measured in millimeters. But the black-backed jackal rarely loses. They are too fast, too agile, and understand the psychology of their larger predators too well. However, the aggression on the battlefield hides a model family life that is rare in the animal kingdom. Black-backed jackals are faithful romantics. They practice a lifelong monogamy. A couple will defend territory together, hunt together, and grow old together. But the true miracle lies in how they raise their young. The black-backed jackal applies the helpers at the den strategy. When a new litter is born, the offspring from the previous litter choose to stay. They accept the sacrifice of their own breeding opportunities for a year to help their parents raise their younger siblings. And finally, the secret weapon that helps them thrive while others decline is a superior immune system. The Serengeti is a hotbed of disease. Distemper and rabies frequently sweep across the savanna like storms of death. These outbreaks have wiped out entire packs of African wild dogs and lions, but not the black-backed jackal. Their bodies possess an incredible natural resistance. They survive pandemics that kill their larger competitors. They are the ultimate survivors, tenacious creatures. The Nile crocodile. It's a creature that's been around since the dinosaurs, hardly changing its design for over 200 million years. When I think about that kind of staying power, I'm reminded of the brutal elegance of natural selection. If the Serengeti is a battlefield, then the Grumeti and Mara rivers are deadly gauntlets. And hidden beneath those murky waters is the crocodile, perhaps the most patient predator on Earth. When the dry season arrives and the rivers recede, the Nile crocodile withdraws, slowing its heart rate to almost nothing. They can hold their breath underwater for up to 2 hours when active, and up to 8 hours while resting, becoming almost like inanimate logs. They await the biggest event of the year, the Great Migration, when millions of wildebeest and zebras are forced to cross the river. That's when the Nile crocodile strikes. Their snap is a masterpiece of hydraulics. Their jaws generate a bite force of up to 5,000 pounds per square inch, 5 times stronger than a hyena and 8 times stronger than a lion. It's like dropping a small truck onto its prey. And once those conical teeth lock tight, nothing escapes. But crocodile teeth can't cut or chew, so they tear flesh using physics. This is where the death roll comes in. The crocodile clamps down on its prey and rolls its body along its axis at dizzying speeds. It's a horrifying spectacle, but the only way for them to effectively dismember their prey. After swallowing massive chunks of meat, the Nile crocodile activates another secret weapon, a superacid digestive system. Their stomachs secrete acid with a record low pH, strong enough to dissolve not just meat, but bone, horn, hooves, even steel. This allows them to absorb almost every nutrient from their prey, helping them survive for months without food. However, the life of this cold-blooded creature depends entirely on the sun. On scorching Serengeti afternoons, you'll see them lying on the riverbank, with mouths gaping wide. This behavior, called gaping, is how they cool down. The Nile crocodile has no sweat glands, so by opening their mouths, they allow heat to escape through the moist mucous membranes, like a heat exhaust vent. This keeps their brains from cooking under the intense heat. But perhaps the biggest surprise about this cold-blooded assassin lies in the mother's heart. The Nile crocodile is one of the rare reptiles to exhibit profound maternal love. After laying eggs in sandpits along the river, the mother will fast and guard the nest for 3 full months, protecting her unborn brood against egg thieves like monitor lizards or baboons. When the eggs hatch, the mother's jaws, with their terrifying bite force, become surprisingly gentle. She uses those very jaws to gently scoop up each tiny hatchling and release them safely into the water. The tenderness of this monster is a beautiful paradox, a reminder that in the wild, brutality and love often walk side by side to sustain life. The ecological tapestry of the Serengeti isn't woven by predators alone. The landscape continuously reshaped by the impact of giant grazing machines. We call them the architects. Without them, the Serengeti ecosystem as we know it would collapse, vanishing beneath impenetrable thorny thickets. The African bush elephant is one of these architects. They survive in the Serengeti without fangs or claws. Standing 4 meters tall and weighing up to 6 tons, they are massive living walls. Even the fiercest predators must tread carefully around such a colossal creature. The African bush elephant holds a critical role in the Serengeti ecosystem. Scientists call them a keystone species. If elephants were removed, the Serengeti would collapse. The reason is that they are brilliant landscape architects. To maintain that massive muscle mass, an adult elephant must consume up to 300 kilograms of vegetation daily. In the process of eating, they act as heavy demolition machines, toppling trees, snapping large branches, and trampling thickets. By preventing vegetation from growing too dense, the African bush elephant stops the savanna from turning into a closed forest. They tear open spaces, allowing sunlight to reach the ground so grass can grow. This is a precious food source for millions of antelopes and zebras. Without elephants, there would be no vast open plains for the cheetah to sprint across. In the dry season, when rivers turn to dust, African bush elephants become hydraulic engineers. Using their tusks and dexterous trunks, they dig deep holes in dry riverbeds to seek out underground aquifers. These elephant wells are the only lifeline for the entire animal community. After the elephants finish drinking, lions, hyenas, and even small birds finally get a chance to access this precious water source. Anatomically, the African bush elephant possesses 2 unique evolutionary tools: the tusks and the flexible trunk. Tusks are actually elongated incisors that grow continuously throughout life. They are crowbars for digging roots, weapons for combat, and tools for stripping baobab bark. Meanwhile, the trunk is a marvel of biological engineering. With not a single bone, the trunk is composed of over 40,000 separate muscle fascicles. It is strong enough to lift a 300-kilogram tree trunk. Yet, the tip is delicate enough to pick up a tiny grass seed. However, physical strength is only half the story. The African bush elephant rules the Serengeti through wisdom and connection. Elephant society is a strict matriarchy. The herd is led by the oldest female, the matriarch. She is not the strongest, but she is the living library of the herd. The African bush elephant's brain has a massively developed temporal lobe where spatial memories are stored. The matriarch remembers the matriarch elephant, in her 60th year, carries within her the memory of every waterhole, every safe migration route. During devastating droughts, her memory becomes the survival map for the entire clan. It's a heavy burden, this living archive, and they communicate in ways we can barely imagine. African bush elephants use infrasound, sounds with ultra-low frequencies below 20 Hz. These sound waves can travel for dozens of kilometers, penetrating forests and hilly terrain. Even more remarkably, they hear with their feet. The fatty pads beneath their feet contain extremely sensitive Pacinian corpuscles, allowing them to feel seismic vibrations from the ground. A herd can detect the footsteps of another herd, or warn of danger from 10 kilometers away. They are, in effect, operating an underground internet. The African bush elephant also possesses an emotional life as complex as our own. They know grief. I've read accounts of them passing the bones of a deceased relative, the whole herd stopping, gently touching the skull and tusks with their trunks, silent and solemn. Amidst the wild and harsh Serengeti, the elephant is the embodiment of memory, wisdom, and perhaps the very soul of the dark continent. Now, let's turn our attention to Retina Pool, in the heart of Seronera. From a distance, it looks like a pile of giant grey boulders resting silently in the muddy river. But as you draw closer, the overpowering stench and low guttural growls reveal the truth. This is hundreds of hippos packed together, creating a spectacle known as hippo soup. The hippopotamus is one of the natural world's most misunderstood creatures. They look rotund, slow, and somewhat comical. But in reality, these are the most aggressive amphibious tanks on the dark continent. Hippos, surprisingly, cannot swim, despite spending most of their lives in the water. Their bodies are too dense to float. Their bones are solid, causing them to sink immediately. Instead of swimming like fish, they gallop along the riverbed, moving like astronauts in a low-gravity environment, using the water's buoyancy to execute graceful bounds, despite weighing 1.5 to 3 tons. Their dependence on water stems from their extremely sensitive skin. Under the scorching ultraviolet rays of the Serengeti, hippo skin would crack and dehydrate in minutes. To cope, nature has equipped them with a unique natural sunscreen. If you observe closely, you'll see red, blood-like droplets oozing from their skin. This is blood sweat, a mucus secretion containing 2 types of acidic pigments, including hipposudoric acid. This compound acts as both a sunscreen that absorbs UV rays and a powerful natural antiseptic, protecting the hippo from infection in murky waters teeming with bacteria and feces. But the true danger of the hippo lies not in its skin, but in its mouth. At Retina Pool, you often see hippos opening their mouths as wide as possible. That is the threat yawn. A hippo can open its jaws to 150 degrees, displaying a lethal arsenal of lower canines up to 50 centimeters long, sharp as razors and hard as ivory. This is the final warning. If the warning is ignored, the hippo will attack with a bite force nearing 2,000 pounds per square inch. They can snap a crocodile in two or crush a small boat. They are, in fact, the deadliest large mammal in Africa. The hippo of the day and the hippo of the night seem to be 2 different creatures. By day, they are social beings, gathering in the water to cool off and conserve energy. But when the sun sets, the hippo leaves the water, becoming a solitary and sullen creature. In the dark, they follow familiar paths, known as hippo highways, to graze. A single hippo can walk 10 kilometers and consume 40 kilograms of grass every night. Their role as ecological engineers lies in nutrient transport. They graze on land and defecate in the water. Tons of this organic matter nourish the aquatic ecosystem, feeding fish and insects, thereby sustaining the life of the entire river. Their relationship with their neighbour, the Nile crocodile, is a tense peace treaty. You often see crocodiles sunbathing right on the backs of hippos. That is respect rooted in fear. The crocodile knows its limits. An adult crocodile may be the king of the river, but against a furious male hippo defending his territory, the crocodile is merely a brittle twig. In these waters, size and madness are the law, and the hippo is the supreme judge. If the Serengeti is a colossal living organism, then the wildebeest is the hot blood flowing ceaselessly through its veins. They are the heartbeat that shapes the rhythm of the entire ecosystem. With an overwhelming population of up to 1.5 million individuals, wildebeest constitute the largest animal biomass on the savanna. Viewed from above, their migrating army looks like a river of black ink surging through a sea of golden grass, an unstoppable force of nature. Their first and most crucial role is that of biological lawnmowers. Wildebeest possess broad muzzles, specially designed to graze on the short, nutritious young grass close to the ground. Every day, this army consumes over 4,000 tons of grass. This large-scale grazing stimulates the grass to grow back faster and stronger. Simultaneously, they deposit about 500 tons of dung daily, a massive amount of fertilizer that helps regenerate nutrients for the arid soil. Without the wildebeest, the Serengeti grasslands would become overgrown, dry out, and become prone to fires, shattering the food chain at its roots. But the true miracle of this odd-looking creature lies in its swarm intelligence. The wildebeest has no leader. No alpha gives the orders. Instead, they operate as a superorganism. Every movement decision is based on crowd consensus and the instinct to seek rain. They are capable of smelling moisture and phosphorus in young grass from 50 kilometers away. When one starts running toward the rain, millions follow. This chaotic movement is, in reality, a perfect survival algorithm. In a crowd of millions, the probability of an individual being eaten by a lion drops to the absolute minimum. There's a mathematical miracle that takes place every February on the mineral-rich volcanic plains of the Serengeti. Within just 3 weeks, around 500,000 wildebeest calves are born. That's like 8,000 births per day. It's a strategy of predator saturation. The savanna suddenly teems with easy prey. Lions, leopards, hyenas, and wild dogs eat until they can barely move, but they can't possibly consume such a colossal number of calves in such a short time. As a result, the vast majority of the new generation survives this most dangerous phase. And these calves, they're biological marvels, genetically programmed to flee from the moment they're born. A newborn wildebeest can stand within 7 minutes, and after just 20 minutes, it can run with the herd. At a steady pace, the wildebeest becomes a winner in the game of evolution. They transform individual weakness into the immortal strength of the collective. They are the life source, the driving force, and the eternal soul of the Serengeti. If the wildebeest are the diligent workers, then the plain zebra are the courageous pioneers. They're always in the vanguard, charging into the tallest and densest grassy areas. This pathfinder role comes from the plain zebra's unique digestive system. Unlike the wildebeest, which requires young grass, the zebra is a hindgut fermenter. Their stomachs are designed to process old, tough, and nutrient-poor grasses. They eat the rough, straw-like tops, clearing the surface layer to reveal the tender green shoots beneath. But their most striking identifying feature, the black and white striped coat, remains one of evolution's greatest mysteries. These stripes create a motion dazzle effect. When thousands of zebras move simultaneously, the black and white stripes blend together, creating a chaotic optical illusion. For a lion, a predator that relies on locking onto a single individual, this scene is like looking at a static-filled television screen. They can't distinguish head from tail, or where one animal ends and the next begins. The latest research from 2024 reinforces the hypothesis that zebra stripes are a shield against tsetse flies and blood-sucking horseflies. The light-reflecting structure of the stripes disrupts the insect's navigation systems, making it difficult for them to land. In an ecosystem rife with pathogens, this is the most advanced biological hazmat suit. Beneath that uniform exterior lies a tight and disciplined social structure. Plain zebras don't live in a disorganized mob. They live in harems consisting of a dominant male, several females, and their foals. When pursued by lions, the male often runs at the rear or breaks away to distract the enemy so his family can escape. His weapon is the legendary rear kick. A zebra's kick can generate an impact force of nearly 3,000 pounds per square inch. It's strong enough to shatter a lion's jaw or break a hyena's ribs. The plain zebra's vigilance is evident even in sleep. Thanks to the stay apparatus mechanism in their legs, they can sleep standing up without expending energy to maintain muscle balance. This posture allows them to switch from sleep to a full sprint in a split second if an alarm sounds. And to optimize defense, the plain zebra has established a strategic alliance with the ostrich. This is a perfect fusion of senses. The zebra has extremely sensitive smell and hearing, but limited low-level vision. Conversely, the ostrich has large, keen eyes and a height advantage, acting as a mobile observation tower, but a poor sense of smell. When together, they form a comprehensive early warning radar system. If the ostrich starts running, the zebra follows without asking questions. If the zebra stops to sniff the wind and looks anxious, the ostrich immediately goes on high alert. This interspecies cooperation makes them the toughest targets for any predator seeking the element of surprise. In the Moru-Kopjes area, where ancient granite boulders rise like fortresses amidst a sea of grass, hides a living relic from the prehistoric era, a creature designed to endure, to fight, and to destroy. That is the black rhinoceros. Though a more accurate name, describing its true biological function, is the hooked lip rhinoceros. This pointed, flexible upper lip is a marvel of evolution. It acts like a prehensile finger, allowing the black rhinoceros to perform surgical operations on thorny bushes. Their favorite food is the whistling thorn. This plant is armed with 7-centimeter long thorns, hard as steel and sharp as hypodermic needles. Any other animal touching them would suffer a shredded mouth, but not the black rhinoceros. With lip skin as thick as rubber and precise muscle control, they deftly weave through the thorns. The goal is the nutritious young leaves. Sometimes they simply crush the thorns with their powerful grinding jaws. However, the most famous characteristic of the black rhinoceros is its legendary short temper. This is the most solitary, suspicious, and easily provoked animal in the Serengeti. A mature black rhinoceros weighs about 1.4 tons. It is a block of armored muscle. When it feels threatened, it doesn't run away. It seeks to eliminate the threat. From a standstill, this 1.4-ton tank can accelerate to 55 kilometers per hour. The kinetic energy it generates in a charge is equivalent to a small truck hitting a wall at high speed. Lions or buffalo standing in its path will be tossed aside or punctured by the front horn, made of solid keratin. This aggressive nature stems from the black rhinoceros's eyes. Their vision is only effective within 30 meters. To them, the visual world is a collection of blurry, threatening shapes. They can't clearly distinguish whether the shadow ahead is a tree, a lion, or a vehicle. Therefore, they often launch a preemptive strike. Aggression is, in reality, a defense mechanism born of fear. To compensate for poor eyesight, the black rhinoceros has excellent hearing and smell. The black rhinoceros sees the world through smell. It's fascinating to consider how different their reality must be from our own, dominated as we are by sight. I imagine them constructing these complex olfactory maps, navigating by scent in ways we can barely comprehend. They mark their territory with dung middens and urine, creating a detailed aromatic record of borders, rivals, and potential mates, all within the Serengeti's Moru kopjes. It's a fragile existence, though, this last stronghold, where the rugged, rocky terrain offers vital cover, helping them stay hidden from poachers. I always feel a sense of deep respect for their tenacity. The black rhinoceros, a symbol of ancient power, reminds us that this land has no room for weakness. But if you want to talk about sheer power, consider the African buffalo. Professional hunters call them the Black Death or the Widowmaker, and for good reason. Their defining weapon is a massive set of horns curved like hooks. But the most terrifying feature? That lies at the base of the horns, in what's known as the boss. In mature males, the horn bases grow and fuse right on top of the head, forming a solid bone shield up to 30 centimeters thick. I read that this natural helmet is so hard, it can deflect a close-range rifle bullet, or even a full-force slap from a lion. When they attack, they use that boss like a sledgehammer to fracture the opponent's ribs, and then the sharp tips of the horns hook and toss the opponent into the air. The Society of the African Buffalo in the Serengeti is divided into two opposing worlds. First, there are the breeding herds, numbering up to 500 or even 1,000 individuals. It's a mobile fortress operated by what scientists call crowd intelligence. Apparently, when resting, adult females will lie facing the direction they want to go next, and the direction receiving the most votes becomes the herd's path. This consensus helps them find the best pastures and safest water sources with astonishing accuracy. Then there's the group of outcasts, the dagger boys. These are old males, past their prime, defeated and expelled from the herd by younger rivals. No longer protected by the herd, they cluster in small groups, wallowing in mud to cool off and treat parasites. But don't underestimate them. The dagger boys are the most dangerous individuals, ready to launch a preemptive strike against anything invading their personal space, be it a lion or a human. The African buffalo's ferocity is perhaps clearest in their mobbing tactic. They are the only herbivores in Africa that actively hunt down predators. When they hear the distress call of a calf caught by a lion, the herd doesn't flee. They counterattack. Hundreds of tons of meat and horn charge forward like a tsunami, surrounding the lions, cutting off escape routes, and driving the king of the savannah up a tree, or even trampling them under hooves. It's said that in the Serengeti, lions kill buffalo for food, but buffalo kill lions out of hatred. If you ever face a buffalo, you'll experience the stare. They stop eating, lift their heads, wet nostrils flaring, smelling your fear. Black eyes look down the length of their nose, locked onto you with cold contempt. They're calculating distance, assessing the threat, weighing whether to turn you into part of the Serengeti dust. In that moment, you understand why no animal, including humans, wants to mess with the Black Death. Now imagine something completely different. A creature towering at a height of 5.5 meters, the equivalent of a 2-story building. The Maasai giraffe, the tallest animal on the planet. A living watchtower of the Serengeti. They're distinguished by dark brown spots with jagged edges, resembling grape or oak leaves, a pattern distinctly different from the neat polygonal patches of their northern cousins, the reticulated giraffe. Their greatest physical challenge is pumping blood to a brain located 2.5 meters vertically above the heart. To achieve this, their heart is a supercharged engine, weighing up to 11 kilograms, with ventricular walls 8 centimeters thick. It must generate blood pressure 2.5 times higher than that of a human. But when the Maasai giraffe lowers its head to drink, gravity-driven blood pressure rushing to the brain is strong enough to burst blood vessels. To prevent this, their neck vein system contains a complex network of one-way valves and a structure called the rete mirabile, which acts as a shock absorber, controlling the flow and preventing death by brain hemorrhage. Every time they bend down to quench their thirst, Maasai giraffes are, in a way, arboreal surgeons. Their favorite food is the leaves of the acacia tree, a species protected by long, sharp thorns. The giraffe's harvesting tool is a tongue reaching up to 50 centimeters in length. This muscular tongue is as flexible as a finger and covered in a thick, glue-like saliva that coats the sharp thorns, helping them swallow without tearing their esophagus. Notably, this tongue is purple-black or blue-black. The Maasai giraffe spends 12 hours a day sticking its tongue out to eat under the scorching equatorial sun. This dense concentration of melanin acts as a biological sunscreen, preventing UV rays from burning the soft tissue. But the life of a Maasai giraffe is not as peaceful as it looks. Males often engage in brutal battles called necking. Two males stand parallel, swinging their 2-meter-long necks like demolition cranes. The head, armed with rock-hard ossicones, is swung like a wrecking ball to strike the opponent's ribs. The force of these blows can fracture ribs, shatter jaws, or knock the opponent unconscious on the spot. The winner gains mating rights, while the loser leaves with injuries that may lead to death later. And even the birth of a Maasai giraffe begins with a traumatic shock. The mother gives birth in a standing position, which means the calf's very first moment in the... Imagine a free fall from 2 meters onto hard ground. That's the start of life for a giraffe calf in the Serengeti. It looks cruel, but that impact is necessary. It tears the amniotic sac, severs the umbilical cord, and shocks the lungs into taking their first breath. Within 30 minutes, the calf must stand and run. If not, it becomes a meal for the lions or hyenas lurking nearby. With eyes the size of golf balls and 360-degree vision, the Maasai giraffe acts as an early warning system for the entire plain. When zebras or antelopes see the giraffe start to run, they don't ask why. They simply follow. Trust in this living watchtower is one of the most fundamental rules of survival here. From the scattered rocky outcrops around the Mopane woodlands, a sound rings out. Loud and decisive, breaking the silence of early morning. It's the call of the Cape baboon, one of the largest, smartest, and most socially organized primates in southern Africa. They start their day with confidence and commotion, as if this land is their well-known domain, where every step has already been mapped out in their minds. In the Luangwa Valley, chacma baboons are commonly found around rocky highlands, forest edges, and buffer zones near the river. Adult males can weigh up to 40 kilograms and measure over 1.2 meters in length, nearly 3 times the average weight of a female. Their fur ranges from brownish grey to ash grey, sometimes with a thicker mane around the neck, helping them blend easily into the dusty red terrain, rocky outcrops, and short grasslands. They live in troops ranging from 20 to 80 individuals, led by a dominant male who guides movement, offers protection, and maintains order. This social structure is highly flexible, held together through behaviours like grooming, food sharing, and caring for the young. These strong social bonds not only help the troop stay united when faced with predators, but also foster a community with a remarkable capacity for learning and adaptation. As true omnivores, chacma baboons consume nearly anything digestible in their environment, from grasses, roots, fruits, and tender leaves, to seeds, insects, bird eggs, and small animals like lizards, mice, and nestlings. Their flexibility in food choices is one of the key factors that allows them to thrive across a wide range of habitats, from open woodlands to semi-deserts, and even mountainous regions. In central Luangwa, they often track the seasonal changes of available resources, especially fruiting trees along the Luangwa River, or near wetlands during the rainy season. When the dry season arrives, baboon troops retreat to higher ground areas with clear vantage points and rugged terrain that help them steer clear of predators like leopards. Though they are prey animals, chacma baboons have been observed coordinating group responses for defense, especially when their young are under threat. Cape baboons use more than 30 distinct vocalizations, combined with facial expressions and body postures, to signal warnings, coordinate movement, or express emotion within the troop. Behavioral studies by the Wildlife Conservation Society during the 2023 to 2024 period confirmed that the body language of chacma baboons can shift depending on social context, terrain, and the relationships between individuals in the group. Their communication abilities are considered among the most complex of any non-human primate species. But this complex web of life faces immense press. The first and most devastating threat is climate change, the engine that drives life the rain, but that engine is beginning to falter. Meteorological data from 2020 to the present reveals that rainfall cycles are becoming chaotic and unpredictable. Droughts are lasting longer and becoming more intense. The Mara River is witnessing water levels drop to historic lows due to upstream deforestation and excessive evaporation. If the Mara River runs dry, the Great Migration will collapse. Millions of antelopes will die of thirst before reaching the green pastures, triggering the demise of the predators that depend on them. The second threat comes from human prey. Populations in the buffer zones surrounding the Serengeti have quadrupled in just a few decades. The encroachment of agriculture and livestock grazing is choking off ancient migration corridors. Human-wildlife conflict is reaching a boiling point, And, in the shadows, another silent war is being waged: snare poaching. With no noisy gunfire, poachers use thousands of wire snares fashioned from motorcycle brake cables. These are invisible assassins. According to reports from the Frankfurt Zoological Society, patrol teams remove thousands of these traps every year. These snares do not discriminate. From antelope and zebra to lions, leopards, and elephants, all can become victims, suffering a slow, agonizing death. The Serengeti is no longer an isolated island of creation. It is buckling under the weight of human development. However, the hope to save the Serengeti remains unbroken. The battle to protect it has entered a high-tech era. Tanzanian national park authorities are implementing unprecedented protection measures. Drones and surveillance camera systems are deployed to root out poaching camps deep within the bush. GPS tracking collars are fitted onto large animals like elephants, lions, and black rhinos. These allow scientists to monitor population movements in real time and intervene immediately if an animal enters a danger zone. The de-snaring program is delivering tangible results. Thanks to international cooperation, specialized anti-snaring teams successfully rescue hundreds of animals each year, returning them to the wild. More importantly, conservation strategy is shifting towards the community. Ecotourism is becoming the Serengeti. It's more than just a park in Africa. To me, it's the memory of humanity itself. It's the only place where I feel I can still hear the wild heartbeat of this planet. That heartbeat thunders through the hooves of millions of migrating creatures. I've come to believe that true conservation becomes sustainable when a living lion brings economic value many times greater than the skin of a dead one. When that happens, locals shift from potential poachers to the land's most ardent guardians. And tourism becomes a primary source of income for the people who live there. The Serengeti, in my mind, is the final living testament to the earth in its primeval state.